No background music, please. Uh, you do not have background music, so you should be good. You guys don't hear it on YouTube normally. Yesterday I forgot to disable that. Hello, Penguin. That is valid syntax. What does it mean? Oh, what that means? I don't know. I think they made a bunch of multiple books trying to explain what that is supposed to mean. One could say it's part of the human condition. Um, okay, I'm gonna leave this uh here for now. So if anybody has opinions, you decide which one you think you like more. I'm gonna go get some tea. I think I will need to make new from scratch. So the SQLite metaprogramming stuff is basically that we have SQLite queries, but a lot of SQLite queries, like the CAPI, um, at its core, is it doesn't attempt to be type safe. I mean, understandably, I don't even know how you would be type safe in C. So basically, the goal is to take that um, API and add on top wrappers, hopefully lightweight wrappers, or rather, to be precise, entirely comp time wrappers. We don't do runtime shit. We just do comp time shit. No runtime overhead. Zero runtime overhead. But we also want the comp time programming to not be too insane. Crypto code. Yeah, I saw that from Zigit. that was fun. Yeah. So uh so the idea is to write wrappers where instead of saying, for example, um, give me argument at index 0, you can say, give me the value of this column. This column name binds to this struct value. That is the idea. Okay. Uh, uh, I'll be AFK for, I don't know. Well, the stream is starting, so be patient. I won't stay AFK for long, but not 20 minutes. That's too much. Let's do a 10-minute stream starting, making tea. So I will be back before the 10 minutes are over. But this is overall the time that it will take for me to make tea. Because unfortunately I'm not microwaving it. If I was microwaving it, the timer would be 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Not 1 second more. But we're not microwaving. So yeah, in the meantime, uh think what it is that you want to see first. I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Okay, we have T. so fuzz, fuzz, fuzz. I see 3 votes for fuzzing. I don't see anybody. Oh, there we go. 1 in favor of SQLite. So I think this is like 3-1, something like this. Well, okay, let's take a look at the fuzzing stuff. Some of the fuzzing stuff. By the way, I'm still waiting for my tea to cool down a little bit so I can take a sip. So, okay, what is this thing? Just HTML. So this is the blog post. Python-based HTML5 parser passes 100% of the HTML5 lib test suite. I have this locally, and I tested it against against I think it's index.html that contains the whole thing. Yeah. Oh, we don't have spec.html. But we do have index. Copy index. No, this is our index. There we go. Oh, it was the point one. Oh man. Okay, you run hyperfine, and this is how it goes. You want fuzz SQL types? Well, we need to make them before we can fuzz them. So, yeah. Bit of a difference. I think we can even do the same with poop. Oh wait, it's PP. Am I vibe coding? Oh no, that's not me. I mean, I think there's some overhead introduced by the extra sampling that poop does, but yeah. Why does poop need sudo mac? Because I think that some performance counters are only readable if you have sudo. Otherwise, you won't be able to. I mean, look at cache misses. Look at the instructions. There's CPU cycles. I mean, it's Python. What is there to say? What is there to say? Okay, so this is the situation, but took me a while to write this thing. This one was vibe coded and was done very quickly. But there's another question, which I had in my mind for a while actually, but never. I could have done this a few days ago, but then I forgot to do it. And I saw another article today that basically ported this code to Swift and also fuzzed it in the process. And so I'm curious, um, can we fuzz the Python code? How hard is it to fuzz the Python code? Will it find bugs? So I don't know. Let's try to see how that can be done. Spoilers: I have absolutely zero experience fuzzing Python code, so I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Python is not chosen for speed but convenience. I mean, if you vibe code the thing, then maybe you can target a better language. I mean, do you care how convenient it is for the agent to write? Like, you don't care about agent convenience, right? So maybe you should consider targeting a more performant language if that's what you're doing. But also, um, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. In any case, that's what they did. So, uh, Python coverage guided fuzzing. Uh, A3s is a coverage guided Python fuzzing engine. Supports fuzzing of Python code and also native extensions written in for C Python. Uh, Google time. All right, this thing is trying to fuzz also C dependencies. To be fair, we don't know just HTML which C dependencies it has. But we assume that there won't be bugs in those. We don't, or rather, we don't care as much. We care about fuzzing the Python implementation. Although it is fair to say that being able to have code coverage of the C part is not bad. Yeah. Eh. Eh. This step is very slow. It is indeed. Okay, so you do instrument imports. So here we would instrument just HTML. And then we do this. Why does it want sysargv? I guess at that point, arguments get eaten by the fuzzer. Okay. Visualizing Python code coverage. Examine which lines are executed is helpful for understanding the effectiveness of our fuzzer. Agreed. Whether it is compatible with coverage.py, you can run your fuzzer using the coverage.py module as you would for any other Python program. Here's an example. So Python 3 coverage run your fuzzer.py A3 runs. Oh, there we go. So these are the number of thingies times to run. I mean, run forever. And then are generated when your fuzzer exits gracefully. Oh, I see. So that's why the limited running. Oh, so you cannot watch this stuff live as it happens. Um, okay. But hopefully it outputs something. New to Zig, using it to write a NITF parser, a binary format. I was curious if there are Zig isms I should be aware of that can help with this. I mean, you mean parsing? Yeah, sure. Um, One is you should use labeled switches in your tokenizer. Um, Second is, although since yours is a binary format, you probably won't have much tokenizing going on. But so labeled switches for tokenizers. Use packed structs. Learn about packed structs. So you go to ziglang.org, you go to the documentation, in here, label switch, learn about label switch, then packed struct, learn about packed struct, maybe also learn about packed union. Whoops. Okay, so you will want to learn about app macOS. Stop trying to be useful because you're not. You want to learn about extern struct, packed struct, extern union, packed union, also extern enum. Um, then what else? I mean, make sure that you know about the built-ins. That's a good part of it. Sorry, you're not saying exactly how new you are to Zig. Like if you're super, super new, I mean, you need to know the language. So you need to, you kind of need to scroll through this entire document, not just the parts that I highlighted. You need to be you need to be very well aware of the parts that I have highlighted. But yeah, you kind of need to have gone through this entire document. So more in general, I would say when you go to ziglang.org, there's the learn section. This is the same link that we were looking at. Language reference is what we were looking at earlier. You also want to look at online learning resources. I did pointer cast, but read on Zig forums that there can be alignment issues, align of, and everything over U64 can be problematic. Well, I don't remember specifically what the problems are with this. I have a vague memory of the alignment stuff. In general, what you want to do is that you don't want to use packed structs for anything that is bigger than a normal int. So if you have a component of your binary format, which is a bit field, like it's a bunch of flags, then it is a very good idea to represent those flags as a packed struct. So those flags will be a, let's say, 32-bit number, and so you make a packed struct that represented as a U32, and in there you put all your one field per each bit of the integer, or whatever combination of things makes sense for your use case. If you need to represent something bigger, like the header of a network packet, for example, you don't want to use one ginormous packed struct. Generally speaking, what you will want to do is have an extern struct. Be aware that you will be using C semantics at that point, which includes padding if necessary. So you need to understand what's going on there. But generally speaking, extern structs do tend to map reasonably well to like headers in binary formats. And that's kind of it. Okay, let's get this Python stuff going then. So we need to install this thing. So I'm doing Ruby. Okay, I was doing Ruby because when you install stuff with pip, it complains that you should be using Ruby. Sorry, that you should be using Brew. So never mind. So we want to use pipex. I have no idea what the fuck is pipex, but I don't know, we pipex these things now. So okay, mkdir just HTML. Pipex install this thing. Fatal error. Pip prevented installation. Motherfucking pip. Cannot find a version that satisfies the requirement. A3s. No matching distribution fund for A3s. Wait, what? Did I typo it? Oh. There we go. Let's see, the format is binary parsing, but everything is essentially arrays of bytes. I'm trying to get Zig introduced into DoD software, data-oriented design. BITF profile. Why is this thing giving me this fucking stock thing everywhere? Oh, I'm stupid. It's BIIF. Okay. Excel binary format. Wait, what? Excel? Oh, no. Wait. Is the spec, but this thing is NITF. What is okay? That's why I was thinking about there was a T. What is NITF? National Imagery Transmission Format. Okay, understood. Where is the spec? Oh, there we go. Can we read this stuff? So this is the old one. No, this is the new one. Okay, let's take a look. Can you read this thing? Oh no. Status retired. Cited document. Download document. Guys, we're hacking the American government. We're stealing all their secret specs. Let me take my micro camera disguised um as a tape measure, and I'll make micro copies of every page, and I'll smuggle this stuff into, I don't know. I was about to say Soviet Russia, but I'm not going to Russia anytime soon. So um I was hoping for something more like visually striking right away. Oh, there we go. Man, this type of spec, I don't know. I don't really like the style in which this is written. I've read other specs in the past that are like they could be more, I don't know, direct, but at least you get size. Okay. So I would say uh I'm guessing this size is probably in bytes. So whenever you have something that has a size in bytes like this, you can always, so in an X construct, you can always have fields be an array of bytes, and I believe those have alignment 1, so there won't be padding with between them. You will not be able to bit pack them, so you will not be able to say, oh, this thing is 10 bits and then this other thing is 16 bits, but without some bits, some unused bits in the middle. So you cannot do that with extern structs. But if it's byte aligned, then you can always pull it off with X constructs, and you can also use comp time assertions about size and alignment of things. So, for example, when you define a struct, you can do const who equals extern struct kind of important that you make your struct extern, because structs that are not extern nor packed don't have a well-defined memory layout, so you cannot make assertions about where stuff is in memory. But in an extern struct, you can say, I don't know, like who is, you can even make another type. Bar is a bar, and bar is defined somewhere else, hopefully as a packed struct, or an extern struct. But then you can do this. You can do comp time and say std debug.assert, or even better, if a line of who is greater than 1. Actually, X instructs might have natural alignment that is already greater than 1. No, I think their alignment depends always on its fields. In any case, point is, you can do this. So you say if alignment is greater than 1 or greater than 4, greater than the number that you expect, or like even different than the number that you expect, then compile error. You literally make it a compile error. So you check these things. You can do it with alignment. You can do it with size. You can validate everything. You can, for example, how do you test if a type cannot have padding? You want to make sure that foo also cannot have padding. You do it like this: if at bit size of foo different than size of foo times 8, then you complain. There you go. You can do this as well. How does it work? Bit size of gives you the size in bits, and it never counts padding of the struct. I believe that if types inside of it do have padding, that's a different story. But for this struct, it gives you the size without padding. Size of gives you the size in bytes, and also it does account for padding. If these two numbers agree, then you have no padding. If they disagree, well, you need to multiply the byte size by 8. But if they disagree, then it means that you have padding that you did not want to have. And these are all compile errors, so you instantly get a compilation failure the moment that you mess something up. It's not even something where you have to hit the condition, blah blah blah. Nope, gets caught very quickly. So you can do all this stuff. Okay. What were we doing? We were trying to install Python stuff. So we were here. No apps associated with package authorities or its dependencies. If you're attempting to install a library, pipex should not be used. Consider using pip or similar tool instead. Bro, like, oh my god, these fucking packages are ruining my fucking life. So this is the one that causes trouble. Okay, let's try with brew in case that I typoed it. I did not typo it. Okay, so when we do this, how do we force this motherfucker to do this? If you wish to install a Python library that isn't in Homebrew, use a virtual environment. Oh my god. Okay. Break system packages. Does Flow support LSP? Yes, it does. Absolutely, yes. Okay, so how do you do a virtual environment? Man, it's been a while. So this is assuming that we have virtual env VM as a we have VM installed as a package, and then we try to make a VM. Okay, let's try this. We did it. And then we do source dot path to dot, so bin slash activate. Fuck, I'm using fish. Bash. Okay. Then Python 3 minus m pip install Aetheris. There we go. That was easy and delightful and immediately straightforward. Next is what's in here? Oh man, everything. Oh, include this empty. Okay. Oh, there's also activate.fish. Okay. Activate fish. Okay. I guess we need to make a Python source file. Fuzz.py. Oh, there's no F. Right. Okay. So the thing looks like this. We also need to install just HTML. Formatted executable rough not found. Yeah, that sucks. Also, why is this indentation different than this indentation? Oh god. Well, I guess we standardize on this now. So just HTML. Right, I can't go to definition. This is not Zig. I mean, I probably can. I just need to set it up, but I haven't. Okay, so just HTML. Show me the code. How do you use this bad boy? Oh, you just HTML the data. No, you do this. Okay, so okay, I need to do just HTML dot just HTML, and then well, I mean, I think that that's gonna be enough. I'm assuming that this parses on instantiation. It might be lazy, we don't know for sure, but hopefully that's enough. No semicolons. Okay, is this it? This might be it. So Python 3 fuzz.py. Hmm. Hmm. From function hooks input hook str. Type ignore input error dl open. Symbol not found in namespace. I don't know, man. Where did you put your delightful C++ uh, symbol definition? Apple Calendar doesn't come with libfuzzer, so you'll need to install a new version of LVM from head. Installing. Okay, so when I install the package, I need to specify a different Clang binary. Did we build Clang? Because I do have LLVM. Did we build Clang in here? Um, I guess I can go check that on. I could do something like that. It wouldn't be the XCC though. You know what? Let's try this. Also, pip install whatever. What the fuck does that even mean? This is not for installing a package. This is for installing. This is not for installing Aetheris. This is for installing another thing. I think I'm seeing a different problem right now. These wheels come with a built-in libfuzzer, which is fine for fuzzing Python code. If you plan to fuzz native extensions, you may need to build from source to ensure libfuzzer matches your Clang version. So, no, I don't need to do this. I don't care about fuzzing native stuff right now. I just want to fuzz pure Python code. I think I'm getting a different problem here. I think this is the end of our adventure. Yeah. Bro, nothing works. Why is everything constantly in a state of breakage? I don't know what else to do. Maybe it's because I'm in a weirdo shell. Let's try to do this from fish. So source activate activate fish. Fish activate. um Python 3 fuzz.py. I mean, this was just me being hopeful. Are you on 3.14? Looks like Python 3.13 is what they support up to. Oh. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, so how do we make this work? Uh um oh. Okay, how do we make this work? We need to brew install Python at 3.13. Can we do that? Yes. I think I will need also to redo a bunch of installations because hmm. No, but I can do 3.13. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I could do that even before. Okay, so Python 313 dash mvenv. Um, okay, so that worked. So then I can do. I already forgot the name of this fucking library. Aetheris. Oh, I didn't source. Activate fish. Building wheel. Also, there was a wheel available, pre-built one. That was more compatible with 314. Why did he download it for me? Also, why am I building this wheel from scratch now? I mean, okay, I'm guessing I'm building this wheel from scratch because there's no pre-built wheel. Created wheel, store in directory. Awesome. What is just HTML? It's an HTML parser vibe coded for Python, which is supposedly spec compliant. I haven't tested it myself, but that was a claim from the author. I don't think there was a mistake. So, yeah, it's a spec compliant HTML parser written in Python, and I'm fuzzing it now, or at least that would be my hope. And we still get the same fucking error. 313 side packages Aetheris native C Python 313 Darwin SO symbol not found. I don't know. Epic. Um, what can I say? What can I say except you're welcome? that's that's the Python interpreter after giving me symbol not found. uh, End of this adventure. Unless somebody in chat has a quick and very confident suggestion on how to fix this in one move. Uh, I mean, what can you do if you're a Python user? Change the fuzzer. Python code coverage guided fuzzer. Python fuzz. 200 stars. Oh, look, they already know what's up. Fuzzy.dev was acquired by GitLab, and it's the new home for this repo is here. Okay. Hmm. I'm giving up. Fuck this ecosystem. I'm sorry. This whole thing is constantly. It's broken. Everything is broken. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what to do. Goodbye. Okay. Sorry. That's end of the adventure. There's only so much fuzzing with this stuff that I can do. Like I mean, I said fuzzing. I didn't even get to fuzz. I'm now have. Well, never mind. I was about to make a blue balls joke, but uh, I now have blue fuzzy balls. Anyway, so Rape, should we attempt to give SQLite queries type safety? Yeah, instantly NumPy fails. I think the people that say that I should be using an older Python are probably right, because the guess is that that NumPy installation fails because that version of NumPy wants an older Python, and which probably indicates that the whole thing requires an older version of Python. I don't know. Okay, let's take a look at our SQLite situation. So I've been studying on SQLite. I have um I have what's the word? I have fine tuned the way I set up connections. So now, previously, I was like opening SQLite connections all over the place. I now have this type called database, um, which embodies basically how we want to do initialization in a consistent manner. This is the canonical way of opening a connection now in our chat application. Um, I should probably. There we go. And so this is nice. Right now, I have completely given up on the idea. So for people who were here yesterday, I have completely given up on the idea of having some form of change data capture in this architecture because the SQLite doesn't support it. I think, you know what? I think this is a deliberate choice by the creators. I think they just don't want to give it to you. They must be of the opinion that it is a bad architectural choice to make, and so that's why they don't give that feature to you, because they could, but they don't. So they could give it to you, but they don't. And in fact, I actually did find something that works as a form of, well, it's a way of knowing that the data has changed in the database from another process. And the answer is in one of the pragmas. There's one pragma that does that. It just purposely doesn't tell you much. It's a data version. So check this out. Schema.data version. The pragma data version command provides an indication that the database file has been modified. Interactive programs that hold database content in memory or that display database content on screen can use the pragma data version command to determine if they need to flush or reload their memory or update the screen display. The integer values returned by two invocations of pragma data version from the same connection will be different if changes were committed to the database by any other connection in the interim. There we go. That's your change data capture support in SQLite. And I think that, so the point is, they gave you something of this kind, but they are purposely not allowing you to get anything more than this. So what does that mean? That means basically that after thinking about it more, there's also the problem where there might be race conditions, or rather, it might be possible. The problem is this: you make a change from the CLI. The potentially running server is not aware that you made this change, and so it has yet to update its state. So what might happen is that, and normally after some time, be it because we get a callback ping, imagining that SQLite supported it, or we jerry-rig some other system to make that happen. If we do that, then then what happens is that, well, yeah, after a while, the application updates. But what might happen is that in that window, from when we change the database and the application doesn't know about the update, something weird might happen. So right now, I don't think that anything that we have implemented could have problems with that. But we are complicating the data model if we do that. And in the future, we might introduce a bug that only exists because of that window. So I'm abandoning this idea for now, or actually not just for now. I'm just abandoning this idea, period. And so we're gonna do things differently. Okay, what else can we do now that is interesting? There are a bunch of queries that are like so error prone that is not even fun. Like, look at this. This is a select, and the order in which I put these fields, these column names in, has to be reflected in here. I change the order of these two things. I add another one in the middle. Everything goes out of whack, and it's like there is no automated way. Only human review can check that things went out of sync, because we're referring to things by index. We're not referring to things by name. We need to be able to refer to things by name and complain if those things are not done correctly. So this is one problem. You want to access it from two places? Yes, because I want to have a CLI tool that can interact with the database. So this is here, for example. So by the way, for people that were not here yesterday, we also implemented full text search for messages. That was nice. Well, the beginnings of. In any case, so for example, here right now, the CLI tool cannot access the database if the server is running anymore. You just get database is locked. But if the server is closed, then you can use the CLI tool to manage information in an offline fashion. So the server is offline, but you can still manage your data. You can query messages, you can add users, delete users, that kind of stuff. So let's say that somebody has a way of, I don't know, somebody has fucked up your server. At least you can still interact with the data. So this is the second place, in a sense, where I want to modify data from. In any case, when it comes to type safety, like, this is not great. There is an SQLite library that gives you more type safety, but holy fucking shit is that thing heavy-handed. So I want something that is not as heavy-handed. I want something that is light-handed and that gives you type safety, though. So, for example, what would this look like? What would the cool version of this look like? In my opinion, the cool version of this would be you being able to do something like .foo equals row.get and whatever the type. So maybe I discovered that you can do row.int in this library, which is not a bad idea. You do row.int, and then instead of the number, instead of the index saying, oh, I want to put here the channel ID, so it has to be 0, 1, 2, so it has to be 2. You do this, you do .channel. And then there's comp time metaprogramming that knows that .channel is 2. How do you do that? Well, you can parse the query. You can parse the query at comp time. So that's what we're going to do. That is one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is... Another aspect of it, I think it's in here. Like, oh, here's another aspect also. What even are the columns that you can or cannot put in a query? Well, that should be something that that you discover by knowing what fields a table has. So we could parse these queries that define tables and learn what are the available column names. Give admin a socket. Yeah, that is something that can be done, but I don't want to do that stuff now. I mean, that is definitely the one thing that we'll do. So I think this is how a full version should work. There is going to be like an online version of those commands where you can run that command, but you run that knowing that the server is running, or there is an offline version of that command which you can run because the database is unlocked. So you probably kind of need both. It's just that I don't want to implement, I don't want to make that feature to bring it to that level of completeness when, when our database queries are held together by speed and optimism and luck. Because the moment somebody fucks up one goddamn index for a column, then it will take a while for you to recognize when things are broken. Also, here's another thing. I learned that SQLite allows you to do $1, $2, $this, $that, $foo. But we don't have name-based binding to these things. We only have positional bindings. So I think there should be a way of binding via names. So basically, when here, instead of just doing ordering, we can also do a struct that says, foo, and this is going to be $foo, and so foo is going to be this field, etc. Like, that should be the default. I would even argue that the positional bullshit should be forbidden. So I basically, long story short, I want to make my SQLite wrapper, And I think I might want to do so by forking the SQL library that I'm using, because I think it does overall a good job with the basics. But I want something more. I want something more, but not as much as the one from V Richman. So um, I think that right now, then my next goal is to fork ZQLite and make my own. They have a database for table schema reading. Yeah, but the problem with table schema reading is that it requires you to have a copy of the database. I guess. Hmm. I do not want my stuff to work off of the database. I want it to work off of the SQL definitions that I have in the source code, I think. Not saying that the other approach is necessarily wrong. I'm just saying that that's, in my case, what I think that I want. Hmm. 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 Oh, I see what the problem is. It's also that if you do select star, then you do this. Oh man, you know what? I think we should forbid select star. I'm gonna make my wrapper be so fucking opinionated. So fucking opinionated, man. Uh, I think I have this, but also where am I taking SQLite C, SQLite 3 C from? I think I'm taking it from the dependency, am I not? Yeah, I'm grabbing it from ZQLite. Hmm. SQL definitions can split for an initial creation and then alter table. Yes, they can in theory. But obviously, and I mean, for example, select star also uh, is a problem. Also, you can have queries that create temporary tables, right, where things are remapped. But um, so like a fully general purpose implementation of this would be kind of complicated. But I think in my case, it can be done, and it shouldn't be too bad. Actually, you know what? This can even be a wrapper over the original library. Maybe we don't even need to fork it. So uh, let's try to introduce this safety here. How do we introduce safety over this? I think that what we want is to have our own implementation of rows that we want our own implementation of rows that returns a wrapper around this type so that we can intercept row definitions, pass in our type so that we can define these functions in a way that works well with this. Let's see if we can pull it off. So I'm going to go into database and let's add rows. I'm going to do it down here. And that takes a query. Arguments. And I don't know what we will return. So the idea is, oh, you know what? We could even have this. We could even have this transparently comp time. No, we cannot do comp time prepare of the thing, but we can do singleton prepare maybe. Let's not worry about that now. Okay. So how does this work? This needs to return a type that I'm going to call rows. Rows is a struct that contains the real rows. Yeah. And then has pub function, for example. No, it has next, which returns a row, an optional row. Actually, not a SQLite row. It returns one of my rows. Maybe we can define it below. And a row contains a SQLite row and a function, for example, int takes in an enum literal, a complaint known enum literal. Something like this. I think that's kind of what we want to do. So the idea is, so right now I'm not checking that the query uh, mentions correct column names. I'm just validating that the functions to get stuff from it do not use indices, but instead refer to what they're supposed to refer. Okay, so how do we do this? Mm, probably need a database. Okay. Next. We can literally do it like this. Shadow's declaration of rows. Oh. Mm-hmm. Hello, X2. So we have this. So the next problem is, okay, how do we map that enum literal to the right field? We need an index, basically. So we need some comp time magic. How do we make that comp time magic happen? Well, to make that comp time magic happen, we kind of need this type to be generic, I guess, because we want a different implementation of rows based on the query. And that is going to be interesting because, I mean, that means that this returns, this returns, hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, how do we do this? One sec. So pub function rows takes in the query, returns a type, returns a struct definition that contains this. Um, what's the best practice to include assets that are loaded using embed file? If you put them outside of source, can include them from there. Should I create a module? Yes, you can literally do create module, and then as the root file, you put the file that you want to make embeddable. I believe. I think that works. In any case, yeah, make a module from the build system. It's the way to go. Okay, so this way we can refer to this comp time query from inside of this stuff. Uh, then uh, what is the next step for us? Also, we cannot return this. We need to return. Oh, no, that is right. So it's like this rows of query. Yeah, this is it. And then in here, and now I think the next thing that we need to do in here is compute the array of tokens, basically. Or we make a static map. I think we should go maybe for a static map. Mm, basically, we need to do query parsing, but we just want to do a dumb version of that. So we want to do, let me think about it for a second. Const, call names. It's a slice of strings. The way we do it is var names. Sure, you can make it const as well, because we're gonna do this equals emptiness, and then we do var it equals sd mem tokenize query on what, spaces and commas. And then we do const select equals it.next, or else query must start with select. And then if it does not equal select what we got first, same problem. And then we keep getting column names until we find from. So then while it.next, actually I think we want to do it differently. No, I think it's fine. If there's a from, we break. If it's not a from, we collect it. So names equals names plus plus talk. If we exit the while loop without breaking from it, we complain. Query must have from I don't know, clause. Is it a clause? Oh, I'm gonna call it a clause. Or it must have query. There we go. Query missing uppercase from keyword. There you go. Notice how this is not really correct SQL parsing that I'm doing. In case anybody in chat didn't know this, I am not doing very correct SQL parsing, but this is actually good enough for probably everything that I will have to do for the lifetime of this program. Or, and if not, the few cases where we might have trouble with this, well, first of all, we can make it more sophisticated if there's a need. But then second, we still have the option of bailing out of this system. So it's just a safer, an easier development thing that we can have for normal day-to-day stuff. And then we can opt into the fancier shit, into the more powerful stuff if we have a need. So And you know what? Keeping this implementation super simple also because we can eject from it, it's pretty nice. It means that we don't have to complicate it enough to account for all the corner cases. In any case, we get in here and then we break VLK with names. There we go. So now we have column names. What do we do with column names next? We need to make a map for it. I think it's start and then control dot static bit set, static string map, static string map with equal, static string map. Values. What do we want those values to be? I think the answer is I guess we want them to be integers. They can be small integers also. Like how many columns are you gonna pull? And no, I'm gonna make it a U8. Uh there we go. And init com time. And want KV's list. So we need to learn what this stuff is. Bro, don't fuck with me. Why can I not oh, it's because the syntax in here is wrong. Is wrong. Okay. Yeah, don't worry. We'll get there. Okay. Returns a map like a static compliant. KV's list must either be a struct of constituent V or a list of struct constituent on keys if V is void. Right. So we're missing the numbers. But the numbers are not a problem, I think. Equals. Can we do it in one go? No, we can't. We also need BLK in this case. Oh, fuck. But no, this is wrong because we. Oh, God damn it. What is the format this guy wants? He wants this. He wants them to be paired. Right. I guess we have to do it like this then. Okay. So with this, we should have everything. Um, this can be simplified now that I think about it this way. It.next or else empty string. There you go. Here we have a column map, and then here we have a column in literal, and we can say um, we can do return row dot int. Index is going to be call map dot comp time. Get call or else compile error column column something something not found in query. There you go. I think we did it. I mean, there's more things that we need to implement. Like it's not just int. But this is it. The metaprogramming is this. Oh man, I can't wait to try it out. This is gonna be so funny. We need the init. Um, what else? Let's take one of these guys and update it. So these rows can become db.rows now. Oh, it returns an error set. Do we return an error set on rows? We need to be able to return also an error set. Then what are we doing in here? Here we're doing get. Let's change this get to int. And then we need text. Okay. Let's see what problems do we have. Local variable shadows declaration of rows. Oh, Expected indexable. Expected type. Con rows found constant pointer rows. This is mutable? Oh, this has to be mutable. Okay. Expected type in on literal found company int. It's time. So ID must be .id, origin, channel, author, body. Expected type conjugate found I64. Oh shit. Yeah. It does not have a dupe int. Almost. It's text, the one that is missing dupeability. You're right, but not integers, because integers are values. You copy them around. You don't need to heap allocate them. It's strings that you need to copy. Okay, no complaints. What if I fuck it up? Orgn. Where's my compile error? Oh, let's fucking go. Column orgn. Orgn. Not found in query. Look how nice this is. This is so thin. And it's giving me type safety. Actually, no. It's giving me like column safety. It's not giving me type safety because in fact, we are missing type safety. We are hoping that these guys are integers, but we don't know that for a fact. The problem is that the only way to know that for a fact is to look at the schema. So that is, I think, something that could be interesting to try and have. But, I would say that is less important because if you mess up the type, this query, the first time it runs, it will fail hard, which would obviously a compile error would be preferable to a runtime error, but at the same time, you don't get like wrong behavior, the confusing wrong behavior. If I swap around origin and like if I swap around channel and author, I'm thinking that I'm placing here the author index and here I'm placing the channel index, and it turns out that I've swapped them around. That is a bigger problem because the program will keep running and then it will get confused about what is what. So this is now much better. Let's make text good. Let's make text duping. Um, let's make text dupe by default, I would even say. And then we can have text no dupe. And the reason for that is because it's a foot gun, right? So you can have the original one if you want, but the default one will try to dupe. Return gpa.dupe. There we go. So we can go in here and say this. Try. Oh no, did we catch him? I think we were catching. I would say not bad. I would say that this is a significantly nicer API to use than before. The cost was so small. Although we have to say one thing though. We are uh we have the unfortunate side effect. Now we need to free the strings. Which strings? What do you mean? If you mean the string that we're copying here, this one is freed when you init rows. Actually, no, it's freed. Well, it becomes invalidated when so the memory is reused when you call next, but then ultimately this stuff is freed when you call the init. So this is nice, and I think we can start using my wrappers around the original ones. There is one thing though that I think we probably should do, which is query preparation. Like we should, I think there is a benefit, right, in preparing the queries first instead of just running them YOLO. When you delete the setting to which you add the messages, yeah, but that is a different story. That is the business of message, which I think it does. When you init message, it does free its text. There you go. Okay, so this is good. I guess we can update all these other guys. So instead of that, we do this. There we go. Another satisfied customer. Not bad. The dupe strings could be arena, but they should be freed for a server style app. Uh, that is it is a complicated question, and the answer is that I need to copy the strings regardless in most use cases. There might be use cases where I need to do different varying styles of memory management. For example, if we receive a message from the network and we keep it stored in memory because we want to be able to dish it out to other people, like let's say that we keep in cache like the last 100 messages, for example, because clients will be interested in those every time when they disconnect, reconnect, that kind of stuff. So they will ask for the latest messages a lot more than the older ones. So it's worth keeping them in memory so you don't have to fetch them from disk every single time. Um, that part, yeah. But for example, if somebody is making a search and they are searching for older messages, and so we do a search that in the history that produces messages as a result, then um, that probably makes sense to put everything into an arena. So long story short, that is decision making that needs to happen much higher compared to where we are right now. Here we are just doing the basic, the plumbing in a sense, and then whoever passes in the allocator is the one that decides uh, the overall allocation strategy. But like hard coding an arena allocation style in here makes no sense because you can always inject an arena at the upper level. So that being said, also keep in mind that we don't control what SQLite does. SQLite is a C library, so it does its own weirdo bullshit with the allocator, and so we are forced to copy stuff away from it. That being said, at the same time, SQLite, I think it's reasonable for SQLite to like have a buffer where we copy stuff out from instead of us being handed that buffer every single time. I don't know. I think the current situation is not too bad. So we upgraded everything to the new DB rows stuff. Almost. Oh, this is So this is the problem now. There's single row. So we want the same logic, but also with a single row. So maybe it's not rows that it's generic. It's the single row that it's generic. So rows needs to be a wrapper that makes our own row. But okay, we need to massage this metaprogramming a little bit more. Uh, yeah, give me a sec. I'll be right back real quick, and then we implement support also for single row. And yeah, BRB. Okay, so let's see. How does row work? Uh, it returns a single row. So what does it mean for us? It means that we could have made, we need rows, we need to override rows, but maybe rows itself does not need to be generic. It's only single row that needs to be. Well, no, rows needs to be generic because it needs to give you the correspondingly generic row. But then, okay, so we want something like this. I think that's what we want. And then when it comes to rows, it really doesn't do much. All it does is just say that it contains rows, which is a uh wait a second. What am I saying? Maybe this is easy. Maybe this is rows query. dot row. That's it. Yeah, I think that is. Wait, that was it. That was exactly it. We're missing the init in this bad boy. That's it. I think all these functions should be in line, honestly. But hopefully the compiler can figure it out. These functions are like they literally do nothing. So um, I think this is it. So row. Oh, excited type con row found optional con row. Uh, something like this. Excited optional type found function. Oh, we lost our music. There we go. Okay. Should rows return a slice? No, it returns its own type because it's a cursor. Think of it as an iterator. So you don't get like a fully realized slice from this stuff. Wizig build? Wizig build. So in theory, we have also covered row. So now we have beautifully type safe and ergonomic row and rows. That is pretty nice. Probably should give an explanation. There we go. Um, so I mean, that was actually so easy. Holy freaking shit. Um, let's look at this bad boy. Oh, you know what? Shall we do this one? I think we should do that one. Let's fucking go. Let's do now. Let's force named arguments. No more positional arguments. Also, in this on this side, uh, get rid of all that shit. I will say though one thing. It is unfortunate that I'm building this not on prepared queries, but I'm building this on YOLO queries. But I think it's fine. We can update. We can upgrade later on. So this becomes PSWD hash. Sorry, dot PSWD hash. Also, this is text no dupe. We're purposely not duping in this case. Oh Jesus. Username. Yeah, that's a different story. Okay. So this is now much better. This is now severely, like seriously, much better. Let's modernize this stuff. So how does that work? I guess what we do is as we tokenize, once we tokenize, is it where? Is it on? I'm assuming that all these things go after where. I guess what we want is this. Like after where, we want to tokenize something equals um something equals question mark. Yeah, there's also the dollar sign. No, okay, and we don't want we want to we want to forbid question marks. We want to forbid colon things. We want to we want or I don't know if we want to forbid them. I think maybe we should standardize on dollar signs at this point. I don't know if the question mark supports names. Maybe it does. I don't remember if it supports names or if it's only positional. But in any case, meaning that it only accepts numbers. Um, yeah, we make it accept names. Also, we should do this. Uh, yeah, we should probably standardize on dollar signs. Okay, let's do like this. So we parse on these guys. So the idea is that if we got here, then we got past the from. So now we're basically searching from where. So we say while it.next if well, let's give it a body. If stdmem equal u8 talk where it's not guaranteed that the where will be there. So we need to um we need to make sure. So when once we see where, um I guess we want to break. Otherwise we keep consuming. You can do it like this. Oh, this returns call names. I think this now needs to return call names and um var names. Huh. If we got out of the while loop because of the break, it means that we are centered on a where, and after that we are looking now for question marks. Well, sorry, for dollar sign stuff. How does that work? I think we want to split also on equal signs. And basically we want to say, because it might be like foo equal dollar stuff. We want to say while it.next if talk at 0 is a dollar sign, then well, let's do it this way. If it's not a dollar sign, we continue. Otherwise, if talk.len is 1, all $sign variables must be named. And we say, and then we write it down. So these names, let's rename these to call names. And this becomes var names in here. Actually, we can specify this also up here. And we return call names var names. There we go. Okay, so in here, we do var names. We do this basically about var names. From the token, we leave the $sign outside of it. Do we want to make an index out of this? I don't think we want to make an index. We want to make a type out of this. So we want to make a type out of this. So this one can actually be simpler. This is just a slice of field names. Oh shit, but wait. What are the types going to be? Oh shit. We don't know what their types should be. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Because we accept any type. Oh, right. Damn. Because we could have made this accept a specific tuple. Sorry, a specific struct instead of any type. But we have to stick with any type. And then we need to do reflection on it, on it and check that all the fields match. Okay, so it's this that we want. We want a slice of names. But this is var. And that's only possible when you build a schema via Zig and not via strings. That is possible also if you do it via strings. You just parse the string like I'm doing here with queries. So you can pull off the same thing if you do it from here, right? Like in theory, I'm not gonna do this now, but in theory, you could have let's call it like a database type that contains table definitions as a com time known value. And those table definitions contain the query that describes them. And from it, we parse. We can even do the thing where we do stupid parsing, where we assume that the first line is going to be like this, the last line is going to be like this, and all the lines in the middle are going to be the first token in each line is going to be the column name. And then the second token is going to be either integer, text, or, something else. And then we compute all this stuff at compile time, and boom, now we know types. That is totally doable. So var names, so this is it. And then we break PLK with call names var names. Okay, so we have parsed a little bit more. Also, you know what? We can complain. We can say if toc0 equals question mark, compile error. No, use $sign variables, not question mark. I think we can do the same with at. I think colon, some people were saying that colon is also one of those things. I think it is, right? Oh, shit. say bind parameter. I should call them bind parameters because that's what they are. Yeah, so question mark is on numbers. Colon is this. I mean, we could allow colon. There's no, you know what? We allow colon, but you know what? It's better to standardize over stuff. No, fuck this. We don't accept those. Just dollar sign. So you know what? Or talk 0 equals question mark or talk 0 equals dollar sign. There we go. Well, it's already tripping on one of our queries, which is fine. Okay. So now we have var names. I guess we want to make a map of those as well, although it's a map to void, or we want to make it a bit map. Let me think about it for a second, because there's also a static bit map, isn't there? Static bit set. Yeah. Init empty, init full. Yeah, but how does it work? Count, set value. Wait a second. The static bit set is not what we want, I think. No, I think it is. Let me think about it for a second. I think we want to. Let's look at STD. There's enum set. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we want a static bit set, but we don't want it. I guess here we just want to make a type, and then we want to make a map for the original strings, a map to void, and then we use a static base set in conjunction with the map, something like this. Static string map void, which does require us to do this. Okay. So we have our map. And then now in oh, it's in here. It's in here that we need to complain, or yeah, it's because we don't see the arguments, right? I guess we can pass the type of any type. like this. And then in here, we now have the type, and now we can check whether it matches or not our expectation in here. So we have a var map. So we can say, um, for type info args dot struct dot fields. Oh, we actually don't even care about duplication, but we do care about seeing all of them. So yeah, we do need a static set. I think this is it. You do init empty, and then we do var map dot get idx. I think it's a thing, index. Yes, you can do get index. So we can get index of f dot name, or else bind variable. There we go. Bind variable, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Set. Okay, we can return count. We can do count. So we can do well, we can do better. We can iterate. Iterator. Okay, what does it give me? Oh god, where's the iterator? What are the options? Kind set. No, I want kind unset. The index of the next unvisited visit. Okay. And this is going to be var map dot get index IDX. Okay, so they should do the trick. Let's fix our queries and see if we can be happy now. No, no things where kind equals $kind, and here we do dot kind equals $kind dot kind equals blah 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 $handle. Okay, in here you have solved all this stuff. Bind is not indexable and not a range. Fuck. The problem is that now that is a struct that you cannot iterate. I bet you that underscore bind is not pub. Right. So for this to work, uh, we cannot do this. We kind of need something that transforms this struct into a tuple. Is there anything in Zig that casts a struct into a tuple? I don't think we have it. And I can't even like beat cast to any type because it doesn't work. I can do it as tuple, maybe? Fuck. STD.meta will not have anything that can help us with. I bet you. Field info, field names, tags. Tag payload. Use field type, yeah. Into enum, field index, decal list, int, float, args tuple. Oh, That seems interesting. Tuple deprecated. Use at tuple instead. Yeah, I guess I can do this. At comp time, I can make a tuple that corresponds to our input struct, and then pass that down. That sucks, but it can be done. So it's something like this. Let's see how at tuple works. Mm, technically, technically, we should be able also to do this. Starfield must be comp time, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Evaluation exceeded a bajillion backwards branches. Well, fuck. Okay. Let me fuck something up. Find variable handle X does not exist in query. Ah, that is good. Okay. Okay, we did it. We have type safety in theory. Let's run the server and test that this stuff actually does work. And then we didn't corrupt the heck out of everything. Yeah, it's working. Now, here's the question. Am I running in slow mode? Because if I'm not running in slow mode, there is something going wrong. Okay, yeah, slow mode enabled. Okay, so we're slow because of slow mode enabled. That is fine. Actually, you know what? Let's try release stuff. So let's do release fast server and release fast client, and let's see if they're any good. Okay, release fast server, release fast client. Let's go. I want pure speed. What are we working on? A self-hostable Discord alternative written in Zig. Yeah. Uh, yeah, the client is probably like it took a surprisingly long time for the server. Holy shit. That's what I'm talking about. I couldn't even see it attempt to connect. That is that's the juice. Oh yeah. Like boom instant. That is so good. Okay. So I think it's now much easier to write correct queries. There we go. What are you using for the UI? Hand roll or a library? Yeah, definitely a library. It's called the UI. That's what you saw a moment ago. Um, I promise you, you can also make good looking UIs with it. In my case, I did not make a good looking UI because, in my defense, well, I genuinely do not have experience doing native GUIs. I did a little bit of web development, but it's not exactly one to one. But setting that aside, I just have not focused on a good looking UI like at all for now. Because I'm still working on like the plumbing. So I have some of the basics here, and that is fine, I guess. But that is not super important. Here's what's nice. If I kill the server, you can see that we know that we need to be reconnecting. Our reconnecting policy right now is kind of dumb. We just try to reconnect every 2 seconds without trying to be much smarter at it than that. But now you will see, for example, that we will correctly reconnect as soon as the server is back on. So it's like it's not much, but properly surfacing to the UI all these like state transitions where you also are connected, maybe disconnected, etc. Um, it's important, and that's what I'm trying to figure out, like a basically standardize repeatable manner so that as we build more functionality, we know the pattern, we know how you're supposed to surface this information to the UI, how you make sure that the application doesn't freeze um, while bad stuff happens. Also, I didn't demo it, but when disconnected, for example, the send button disables itself, like it doesn't work anymore. There's a lot more stuff that needs to be done in that sense, but bit by bit, we're making progress. So now we have pretty cool type safe queries. Yeah, I think this is actually not important. This is important. Technically, this is also important, but this doesn't consume much. This guy is the one that consumes a ton because it does parsing. Um, yeah, so this is all done at comp time. This is comp time, this is comp time, this is comp time. There, this should be good. Okay, not bad. I would say not bad. One step closer being a nice project to contribute to. Uh, I guess the next step is we have more queries out in the wild. Let's go take a look at those. So I guess we can grab db.con. db.con exec query. We should wrap exec, should we not? You know what? For now, let's ignore this one. Not, I would say this one is not interesting. This one is interesting though. Oh, but it's still exec. These are all execs. There we go. Rows. db.rows. Boom. Int ID text handle text users also text no dupe. Oh, users no funding query. You're right. Thank you. Display name. Mm, 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 mm. This is it. Really? No, wait. What about message search? db.rows. This one is one that I think we cannot make work that way. This one is complicated because it would require us to understand highlight. So like if we do this, this will not work. It is unfortunate. This will have to say con.rows. Unless there is a way of I don't know. There we would need to parse this fucking thing because we're calling in a function here. So this one cannot be updated. That is fine. That is fine. Okay. Um this was a nice update to D2. I'm happy. I think that this is it for me. Let's see. This was a 3 hour long stream. We did I didn't stream for like super long. It's 3 hours is still respectable though, but uh yeah, we did what we wanted to do, kinda, because I wanted also to fuzz the Python library, but apparently fuzzing on Python, it's ironic though that fuzzing on Python just does not work as seamlessly as it should. I get that fuzzing the native code is complicated because you need to instrument it, but I didn't even care about that. I just wanted to fuzz the normal Python code and that would poop itself. Weird. um, but in any case, we pulled off pretty good query type safety, if you ask me, in like a handful of lines, and we got real far with very little effort. So yeah, thank you all for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Let me see if there's anybody that I should raid in software game development. Refresh. Do 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 do. So I don't see the more Roy. Zig? Anybody with a Zig tag? Oh yeah, there's one person. So enjoy the other Zig stream and see you next time. I see that there's some IO writer stuff going on, so it'll be fun.